Hello and welcome to the In Publishing podcast. My name is James Evelegh and I'm the editor of In Publishing. My guest this time is Alex Kersten, editor-in-chief of Car Throttle, part of the Autovia stable of motoring brands. Car Throttle is a social-first publisher delivering branded content across the major social platforms, including YouTube, where they have over 3 million subscribers. Alex is the main presenter on their videos, so is instantly recognisable to millennial car enthusiasts around the world. Alex has some advice for producers of branded content.
Know your audience and ensure that you don't alienate them with branded content that they're not interested in, no matter the monetary reward. Because if you lose your audience, you're going to lose your scale. You're going to have mistrust in your audience as well. So make sure that you don't alienate them.
He tells us about their approach to creating compelling videos.
And we go on road trips. We don't take ourselves seriously. If stuff goes wrong, we'll document it. We'll put it out there. You know, we're not perfect. We are our audience. So we mess things up as much as our audience does, but we all learn from it and we all laugh.
And why collaboration and sharing are key when it comes to building reach online.
If a subscriber of a channel in America sees that channel is doing something with us, they'll think, that's cool. If that channel is working with Car Throttle, maybe Car Throttle's cool, and then they'll spread the word. So yeah, don't be afraid to collaborate because sharing is caring, especially online.
Amongst many other things. But first, a quick word about our valued sponsors. We would like to thank our podcast sponsor, Air Business, a market leader in distribution and subscription management services for the publishing industry. Its end-to-end service includes subscriber acquisition and marketing strategy, worldwide distribution, digital mail and e-commerce fulfillment, and warehouse and freight logistics. For more information, visit airbusiness.com. Alex Kersten is editor-in-chief of Car Throttle, which describes itself as the internet's largest community for car enthusiasts. Their YouTube channel, which Alex features on prominently, recently hit 3 million subscribers. Alex Kersten, welcome to the In Publishing podcast.
Great to be here. Thanks very much.
And congratulations. That's an amazing achievement.
It is, yeah. When we hit the 3 million, we were actually knee deep in edit, so we didn't actually have much time to celebrate, to be honest. But we're long overdue a burger and chips.
Brilliant. Well deserved. Is that something when you started it off, was 3 million something you envisaged, or is this just all part of the plan?
I think it's something that's just crept up, really. I think when we hit our first million a few years ago, we did go quite ham on the celebrations. We did a little celebration video on the channel, but you hit 1 million, then you hit 2 million and 3 million. The next kind of goal is 5 million and then 10 million. You kind of become a little bit desensitized to the millions and the numbers and the reach. But yeah, I think 5 million for us would be achievable and something that we'd really, really like to celebrate.
Well, that's a lovely position to be in. So for listeners who aren't that familiar with Car Throttle, can you tell us a bit about it? Why is it different? What is it, and why is it different to other automotive publishing brands?
Yeah, sure thing. So Car Throttle is an automotive media brand started in 2009, whose focus has always been on publishing automotive content where mainly millennial users spend most of their time. So we're talking mobile phones and social platforms. In 2018, we did 2.5 billion video views across all platforms. And today on our, like you said, 3.1 million subscriber YouTube channel, we see regular 1 million video views per episode, which is really cool. In terms of the videos we produce, we pride ourselves on relatable content, which is why you'll see lots of used enthusiast cars on the channel, as well as car builds, road trips, and cheap car challenges. So I like to think of us as a channel whose content you can watch on a Friday and then replicate on a Saturday.
All right. And how is that different to other publishers?
Well, I think our focus is mainly more on the used spectrum of the market. So used enthusiast cars. We buy cars for £100, £200, £500. We've even got a car at the moment sitting in my driveway that cost us £1, the £1 Volvo, which we'll be doing some fun stuff with later. So it's kind of not, it's not going into the new car market as much. It's really resonating with our audience, which like I said, are millennials. I think other publishers they're more kind of new car focused and get their vehicles from manufacturers, whereas we actually go out, buy them, and inspire our audience to do the same.
Okay, and in terms of your output, it's all via social platforms, isn't it? So you don't kind of produce a magazine as such or anything like a number of other brands. That's presumably a major difference as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've never had a magazine. We have recently created a newsletter, but like you said, we are social first. So YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and we have a website as well.
And the website, is that an important part of what you do, or where does that fit into what you do?
Yeah, so there are kind of three pillars of Car Throttle. So we've got the YouTube channel, we've got the website, we've got social platforms. So for us, the website is a good kind of shop front, as it were, into the new cars that we do feature. We have long termers as well. So long term test cars where we get a vehicle from a manufacturer for about anywhere between 6 months and a year. And the website for us is a really great platform to show off the in inverted commas ownership experience. So that's really what manufacturers like to do, like to see. Sorry. The website is also good because we can replicate some of the stuff that we've done on the YouTube channel on the website as well. So if we buy a car for £200 and we're done with it on the YouTube channel, then we can carry that over to the website and people can continue that funnel from YouTube, social down to website to really see what's become of the car, and follow up stories really.
And the Car Throttle describes itself as the world's largest cross-platform automotive publisher. So you mentioned a few of the platforms. Which ones work best for you?
So the YouTube channel, 3.1 million subs, is probably what we're best known for. But we're very active across all the big hitting social platforms. So on Facebook, we've got 7 million followers. On Instagram, we've got 1.6 million followers. And more recently on TikTok as well, we've got 200,000 followers. So YouTube makes us the most in terms of revenue, so ad revenue and sponsored campaigns. But we also see good income from Facebook and Instagram.
And do you and your team do you have separate teams for each platform, or do all of you do all of the platforms?
Yeah, we do have separate teams. So there's three of us running the YouTube side of things. So there's Ethan, Jack, and I. Then on the Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok side of things, there's Jake, Edwin, and new starter Ben. And then we've got a sales team as well. But I would say there's 6 of us who look after all of those social platforms.
And the content you produce, do you produce one, let's say one video, and then those different teams take it and work out how best to exploit it on the different platforms?
Yeah, exactly right. So we'll produce one. At the moment, we're producing one Halo video a week. We were doing 2, but because of the output and because of the sponsored campaigns that we're doing at the moment, we just need to focus more on those. So what we'll do is we'll shoot and edit our Halo video, and then we'll do a kind of recut and give that to the social team, and then they'll pick out the best bits that they like and then put those, farm those out on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. They'll do teaser videos, teaser images. But yeah, they're very good at what they do, in terms of knowing what those people on Instagram and Facebook really want versus what people on, say, YouTube want, which is more kind of long form content.
And in terms of revenue, you mentioned that YouTube was probably the main one. How do your revenue streams divide up?
Yeah, so YouTube, I'd say 75% of our revenue. So that includes ad revenue, and sponsored campaigns. So we work with a lot of big OEMs, tuners, manufacturers, all the rest of it. So 75% for YouTube. On the social side of things, so Instagram and Facebook especially, you're probably looking at 15%. And then website ad revenue again 5%, and then we also have the e-commerce side of the business, which equates to about 5% again. So we sell t-shirts, jumpers, that kind of stuff as well, which our audience really loves.
And where of those revenue streams, where do you see the most potential for growth?
That would remain YouTube, which is why we've got a team of people in the UK and US who champion the brand and showcase the benefits of working with us to other manufacturers, OEMs, all the rest of it. Yeah.
Okay, and so branded content is a key part of what you do. when you're putting together a content piece, if you like, what are the key do's and don'ts of making a successful branded content piece?
There are loads. There really are loads and loads. I have got some written down here, so I'll quickly go through those. So do know your audience and ensure that you don't alienate them with branded content that they're not interested in, no matter the monetary reward. Because if you lose your audience, you're going to lose your scale. You're going to have mistrust in your audience as well. So make sure that you don't alienate them.
So how do you handle that? So let's say you've got a manufacturer who has a big budget, and they have a set of messages which they're very keen to put across and are very forceful about what they want. How do you push back?
You just need to explain. I mean, I've done it quite a number of times. You just say, look, we know our audience. We've got to the scale that we have because we speak to our audience on a personal level, and we've never alienated our audience. We don't try and pull the wool over anyone's eyes. So 9 times out of 10, the company, OEM, whoever it may be, they'll sit back and say, okay, you guys know what you're doing, which is why they come to us in the first place, really. So they do give us that freedom to not dictate how it's going to be done, but to recommend the best practices.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted. So
no worries,
other do's?
So the second do is, like we just discussed, push back on requests from potential partners that may damage your brand or lead to audience mistrust. Like I said, the moment you get audience mistrust is the moment that you're on a very downward spiral. So you've always got to be open and honest with your audience, and again, don't try and pull the wool over their eyes. Do be selective about who you work with and research them thoroughly. Have they got a good reputation? Are they like-minded? I have seen in the past some companies working with, or some media companies working with partners who I maybe would have been a little bit mistrustful over. And I know that a lot of reputations can be, made or broken online because people love bad news and people love to spread gossip. So you really need to make sure that whoever you're working with is already a trusted partner. And then don't work with brands that your audience won't care about. You'll get poor results and won't have any results to show to potential brands. And the final don't is do not undervalue the services and the reach that you can give to brands, because they might take advantage of your goodwill for potential future projects. That's happened to us a few times. We've gone in with a very favorable price to do something, to promote one of their products or services or whatever, and then they automatically think that they can get that second time round, but that's not always the case.
All right. And in terms, when you said brands approaching you who aren't related to your audience, do you get that? Do, I don't know, toothpaste manufacturers approach you, or whoever?
Yeah. So one that springs to mind is a company that does shavers. So razors to shave your face. I think that was beginning of lockdown, and like I said, our audience 75% 18 to 35 years of age. 97% male, so chances are people have got to shave or they use razors. So that something for us was very new. We'd never done anything like that, but it worked really well. It's not something we thought of, but it's something that company came to us for because they saw our reach, and then we thought, hey, let's give it a go, and it worked really well.
Brilliant. And when you're how does a tool campaign work? So a car manufacturer, for instance, comes to you with a plan. What are the building blocks? Do you come up with a suggestion? Do they start with a suggestion? How's it all scripted and put together?
Yeah, so when that happens, both the media company, so us, and the brand need to be on the same page in terms of messaging and KPIs before ideas are generated and discussed. You always need to ensure that the brand you'll work with is someone or something that you trust, and someone or something that your audience will also benefit from. And in terms of key messaging that the brand wants to put across to your audience, you need to make sure that you script it to your own house style so it doesn't seem too out of place. Another important thing when you're working with brands is to keep timelines realistic and always stick to them. Always also ensure that feedback from the client is within an agreed time frame. We have been stung before where the client went to ground and when feedback was needed, meaning that we couldn't actually go live with a video as planned, which is really frustrating. And then the final kind of building block is to ensure that all the social promos are aligned with the video live dates as well. That way you can really build the hype and increase brand awareness.
And I was about to say, what are the pitfalls to avoid? Where do some publishers typically get it wrong? But I suppose it's not doing all the things you've said, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. I wouldn't say, we're experts in the field, but, we do a pretty good job. And, we do get lots of really cool brands coming to us, asking for advice or help or to work with us. We're doing stuff with Hot Wheels, for example, which I grew up playing with Hot Wheels, and now to be working with them is just immense. So we're obviously doing something right.
And looking at your channel, there are lots of different. You seem to have lots of different formats and approaches and storylines. Where do all those ideas come from?
Yeah, so we've got like you said, we've got lots of formats. I'd say a few years ago, we started a series called Two Guys, One Car, which is pretty much what led to the snowball effect of the subscribers. And just to give you a quick overview, Two Guys, One Car it's me as the car guy and producer Ethan as the non-car guy. So it's putting us in a car or a car-related situation and then seeing how those two people react. So, for example, if we were to drive past a really cool car, I would look at it and say, "Oh, isn't that cool?" Whereas Ethan would just, drive on and just not care. It's properly relatable content. It's the content that people who love cars will then share with their friends who don't love cars, and vice versa. So you watch it and you're like, "Oh, that's so me," or "Oh, that's so James." It's really shareable content in friendship groups. We've also got cheap car challenges, which are immensely popular. So we kicked those off about 2.5-3 years ago, and that was just born out of an idea of, we don't know what we're going to be filming this week. What should we do? Hey, how about we spend £200 on a car and go on a road trip? And that, I think, within a week did 1 or 2 million views, and then we thought, oh, we're onto something here. We have tried the more kind of traditional car reviews with me kind of fronting that, but YouTube especially is so saturated with reviews and vlogs and blogs and all the rest of it that it wasn't something that we really wanted to try and break into for us. It's more relatable content, humor, laughs, unscripted, just jump in a car, get on with it and see what happens, good or bad. So yeah, we've sorry.
No, I'm about to say, what are the formats you enjoy most? I mean, do you get equal pleasure out of them all, or do some of those formats give you, a particular buzz?
Yeah, so the format I enjoy most is 100% going out, buying a car, or searching for a car in the morning, whether it be on Facebook Marketplace or eBay or Auto Trader or whatever else, going to look at the car, buying it, and then going on a road trip. Because you wake up in the morning, you don't know what car you're going to buy, you don't know where you're going to go, and you don't know if you're going to make it. And that for me is so much fun, because when it goes wrong, it goes spectacularly wrong, and you're stuck at the side of the road. And at that moment, you hate life. But when you look back at the footage, you think this is just absolute gold. And if we can do it, our audience can do it, and they might hate it as well. But when they look back on it, those are the memories that will last a lifetime.
And those videos, so even when you set off in the morning to find a car and you don't find a car, and as you say, you end up on the side of the road, that still becomes a video you put out, obviously.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. We've done all sorts of weird and wonderful things. I just remember a video where someone messaged me on Instagram and said, "I'm moving back to Australia. I've got this Honda Civic you can have from me for 50 quid. I'll leave the key on the exhaust. I live in Bristol." I chucked him over 50 quid because I thought, hey, this could make a great video. Ethan and I set off and we went to Bristol, and the car was there, and we had a great time of it. And it could have been one of those things. He could have been pulling my leg. He could have been having me on the car. Might not even existed. But even if the car didn't exist, we'd still have a video. The fact that it did exist just made it real wholesome, feel-good entertainment.
And I suppose the footage of the video with you actually travelling to Bristol must have been quite fun in itself, because
Exactly.
into the unknown.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're having a discussion. Do we even think this car exists? Probably not, but let's go anyway.
Brilliant stuff. Now, you started off as an automotive news reporter and journalist. At what point and when and how did you discover your talents in front of the camera?
I've always enjoyed being in front of the camera and entertaining people. So being able to show off and chat about cars came quite naturally to me. I started my kind of automotive career at Autocar on the news desk, but news writing was never something that I really wanted to pursue. So when I got the chance to present videos, I literally just put everything into it and tried my hand at cars and comedy, reviews, scripting versus not scripting, and everything in between. I think over the years, I would say, I don't know, it's difficult to say. I've cared less about what people think of me, and I think that's really important, because there are a lot of egos in front of the camera, but when you just completely let your guard down, that's when people can relate to you and think, oh, he's a bit quirky, he's a bit weird, I kind of like this, or he's not someone that I would be friends with, but I enjoy watching him. So I really don't care what people think of me, or if they laugh at me or with me, as long as I'm having fun. Chances are that people watching it will be having some kind of fun as well. So it's that kind of self-deprecating nature that I have within me, that I think just translates quite well on camera. I'm also really short. I'm 5'7", so I've got to be funny, or otherwise, I have
Yes.
I have nothing to my name.
Well, I'm an inch taller, I think. So
oh wow, you got me there.
Well, we can't prove it, can we? So it's a podcast, so we can't. In terms of, as you say, not caring what people think, I think that sounds like a very positive attitude to take, because there's a lot of negativity online, isn't there? I mean, do you get negative feedback? I mean, I know under some videos online, sometimes it can be a bit toxic.
Yeah, definitely. I found, especially on platforms like Facebook, that's where you get the most kind of negativity. But in terms of YouTube comments, yes, of course, we've had negativity. Yes, of course, it's been directed to me sometimes. But I would say these days, 99.5% of the comments that we get, and bearing in mind on a video, we can get thousands of comments. I would say that 99.5% is positive. And when you do get negative comments, which of course you do, I'll sometimes, as long as it's constructive, I'll write back and I'll say, oh, I'm sorry you didn't like that, or I'm sorry you feel that way. And again, 9 times out of 10, they'll say, oh, I was only joking, I just wanted to get a reaction out of you. But ultimately, you also need to remember that there are people who write negative comments because they're going through some bad stuff in their life. They might suffer from anxiety, depression, whatever, lost their job. And for them to, to say some negative stuff towards you, it might just, for them, just be a little bit of a release. So in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, I'm not going to, to have a go at that person, because I don't know what they're going through. They might be going through some really bad stuff at the moment. So if it makes them feel better, then fair play. But most of the time, the audience in the comments on YouTube, they'll always defend us and say, oh no, you can't say that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you don't know what other people are going through, so I don't pay too much attention to it.
Sounds very wise. So your first video experience, was that when you were with Autocar, or when you joined Car Throttle?
My first video experience was actually when I did my master's in automotive journalism at Coventry Uni. I'm inherently lazy, so as part of the dissertation, we could either do 12,000 words written, no thank you, or we could break it up into 6,000 written, and then I think it was a 10-minute video. And I had quite a cool car at the time, so I decided to do video as part of the dissertation. So I grabbed a camera and I went out with my buddy Gareth and filmed my car and did a review on that. And I think I actually got a distinction for the video part of that, which was awesome. So that was my first kind of taste of being in front of the camera. And I remember I had to upload it to YouTube as well. Then it got picked up in America by these big car websites and car blogs. And I just remember the headlines. It was something like, we don't know who this automotive journalism is, but we like his style, that kind of stuff. So that's when I thought, oh, this could be quite fun. Maybe I could make a career out of this.
That must have been hugely exciting at the
It
age
was.
of
It was
presumably
amazing.
21, 22.
Yeah, a little bit older. I think I was 25 or so. I'm 30, 36 now. But it was incredible, and that was that was a long time ago. That was when YouTube was much smaller. Instagram wasn't a thing. TikTok obviously not. But yeah, I've been on YouTube in some respects for probably 12 years now. But my first kind of professional go at YouTube was at Autocar. I did, I think, 2 or 3 videos, and they seemed to do very well. But at the time, there was someone above me who was doing the video side of things, and obviously she was enjoying it, so she didn't want me muscling in. So that's when I made a move to Car Throttle. I met the founder, a guy called Adnan Ibrahim. We met in 2011 at a launch of a Seat Me, I think it was. So we were flying out to, I think, Spain to drive the new Seat, and he approached me, and he didn't know who I was. I didn't know who he was, but he approached me and said, "Oh, I'm from this blog called Car Throttle." No one had ever heard of it. No one paid it much attention. But he talked a really good game. He's one of those people that you just listen to and you just instantly trust and have a lot of respect for. So I think it was 6 months later we had another chat, and he said, "Look, I want to do this full time," because he was kind of doing it while being at uni. So yeah, we made an agreement, and then I joined as editor of the website. So it was Adnan, Ethan, and I who spent the first few years kind of building up the website and slowly developing the YouTube side of things.
And for other journalists, who are considering becoming a presenter of videos, and I know a lot of journalists are now being put in front of camera or presenting podcasts, what advice would you give them?
I would say stay off my patch, because it's my patch.
No, as long as it's not to do with cars, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Stay away from cars, and then we'll be all right. No advice. So know your audience, speak to them on their level, and research the hell out of the subject or the car that you're doing a video on, because we as people crave new information and love learning while being entertained. I would also say try to establish your niche, but make sure that it's broad enough to get you noticed. So Soviet cars of the 1960s might be very limiting, while a channel focusing on cool used cars for under £2,000 has massive appeal, because most of us have had to buy a car for £2,000. I'd also say be consistent with your upload schedule, because we're creatures of habit. Try lots of things, look at the channels that you like and see if you can improve on their ideas. Be you, but on a really good day, because an audience wants to be energized and inspired. So be enthusiastic, be eloquent, and have a lot of fun. Importantly as well, I'd say be a good role model, because there are too many channels these days that promote bad behavior, flirting with the law, and being controversial just to get noticed. And I'd say if you're going down that route, then you just really won't last. I'd also say don't be afraid to give video presenting a go. You've got a camera, you've got a microphone in your pocket, so your phone is the only thing that you really need to get started. And YouTube is a perfect platform to get noticed. And one last thing as well, when it comes to the edits, be ruthless and get rid of any waffle. And if you think something that you said was funny at the time during the recording, then listen back to it 3 more times during the edit. If it still makes you laugh, then chances are it really is funny. If it doesn't make you laugh, then just get rid of it. That's how I go through edits.
That sounds like very good advice. It presumably something is also worth sleeping on sometimes, isn't it? See something the next day, and it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we have had to bash out edits before in a day, but usually, we'll give ourselves 3 or 4 days to go through an edit, and then over that time you can trim a bit more here, and then stuff like this actually does keep me up at night. And when I'm trying to drift off to sleep, it'll just a clip from the video will just suddenly pop in my head, and I'll say, maybe we should do it that way, or I'll message the guys and say, actually, let's just get rid of that. You have the best ideas at completely random times. So yeah, don't be afraid to listen to your gut.
So middle of the night, you get this idea, the lights are off. Do you turn the lights on and write it down, or do you just trust yourself to remember it in the morning?
Yeah, bit of both really. I'll either chuck it on my phone, I'll usually always remember it actually. Um, so yeah. I mean, sleeping on it is a good idea, but I think we've got into the habit now where we just know what works and we know what our audience likes. So it's very autonomous now. And like I said, if it doesn't make me laugh 3 times, then chances are just get rid of it.
Now, in February, you were promoted to editor-in-chief, having previously been head of video. How has your role changed, and what are your new responsibilities?
Yeah, so with the new job role, it's been my job to ensure that the 3 pillars of the company, so social, website, and YouTube, are instantly recognizable as Car Throttle. So over the years, we've kind of been pushed and pulled in various directions, meaning that each of those pillars has followed a different path. So we need to get them all back on track. And that means aligning website and the social channels a lot more with YouTube, which is why you'll see more used enthusiast cars and personality and humor on each strand. Like I said, someone who doesn't know Car Throttle, had they looked at either the website or the YouTube channel or Instagram, maybe 6-7 months ago, then you could have been forgiven for thinking that they were 3 different companies. I think nowadays we're a lot more aligned. We speak to each other a lot more, and we know what the focus is, and that is enthusiast cars, humor, personality.
And in terms of, you were previously head of video. Are you still going to be doing as many videos as you were doing before, or are you stepping back slightly?
No, I'll never step back. I will never step back. No, I love being on camera. I love coming up with those ideas. So the presenting role hasn't changed at all.
So you're effectively you are effectively editor-in-chief and also head of video now. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Now, your YouTube channel is hugely successful, as we said, over 3 million. We've probably covered this, but what would you say are the main reasons for its success? I mean, there are loads of channels out there which people sweat blood over but gain no traction. But you've obviously gained huge traction. We might have covered it already, but could you just maybe repeat what you think are the main reasons for the success of the channel?
Yeah, so the main reason for growth for us, I think, is identifying a gap in the market quite early on, and that is kind of used enthusiast cars, and then taking those cars and those videos and injecting them with humor and personality. So like I mentioned, 7 years ago we kicked off the hugely popular and very relatable series called Two Guys One Car, and since then the channel has snowballed. We've also done affordable car builds, which really hit the mark. We've got cheap car challenges that fill the Top Gear Grand Tour void. And we go on road trips. We don't take ourselves seriously. If stuff goes wrong, we'll document it. We'll put it out there. We're not perfect. We are our audience. So we mess things up as much as our audience does, but we all learn from it and we all laugh. In terms of the goal for the channel, is just to keep on growing, really trying new formats, inspiring people and continuing to be kind of virtual mates to our audience around the world. Also hitting more big brand deals is always exciting. And that especially gives us budget to make what was a pipe dream a few years ago a reality today. So we can do these big car builds, we can go abroad, we can buy various cars. It's mega to think how far we've come in quite little time, really. And I just love that the traction that we've been able to gain on YouTube and social has meant that we still get to mess around with cheap, crappy cars, but just continue making relatable content. It's amazing.
I must ask, is your own car cheap and crappy, or do you have a new car?
I don't have a new car, so probably the one series that helped the channel grow most is Project MX5. So I've got this 1995 MX5 that I bought for 1,100 quid, and I think we've done 30 build episodes on that. So I've got that in my garage at the moment. We've swapped the engine, we've done everything to it. There's probably about 25 grand's worth of money and sweat and tears invested in that thing. But it's not a new car. It's not a supercar that you get on lots of other channels. It's an enthusiast car again. It's relatable. It's the stuff that we've done to that car, to my car, is something that your mates can go out and do the very next day.
And we talked about milestones earlier, and we, obviously you've hit 3 million, and you were talking maybe about 5. It's what could possibly be the goal, and what is the yardstick? I mean, how big can it get?
I don't think there's a limit to how big it can get. I'll be happy if we can hit 5 million subscribers in the next couple of years. I think it'd be great. It would be a really great metric to have, but 3 million is already amazing. 1 million is incredible. Even having 500,000 is great these days, because YouTube is so saturated these days that it is so difficult to really break into that market and to get noticed. So, there is no end goal for us in terms of a number on YouTube, but I think it would be great one day to be picked up by the Amazons or the Netflixes of the world, to have our own car show with loads of budget and loads of cachet. It would be amazing. But for now, I'm happy just plugging on, just living the dream. It's great. It really is a lot of fun.
It does sound it. It does sound it. Now, if you look at everybody who produces videos, they want millions of views, thousands of views, and you're regularly hitting the 1 million plus mark. If you look at your most popular videos on the channel over the years, do they have particular things in common, or is it kind of serendipity? I mean, who knows what's going to work?
Yeah, I mean, I did have a quick look earlier on. So all of our top 10 vids, so including car guys versus non-car guys, or 10 techniques that will make you a better driver, or testing Tesla's autopilot 17 miles an hour. These all have pretty much one thing in common, and that's learning something new in an easy to watch, digestible, entertaining and fast-paced video. So it's a type of video that you watch. It might be 10, 20 minutes long, but when you come to the end of those 10 or 20 minutes, it feels like 2 minutes, because there are so many little videos in within that it just jumps from one section to another section. It's always really fast-paced and entertaining. And if you can actually teach your audience something, then they just absorb that like a sponge. So we as humans, we love new information, and if you can do that in an entertaining way, then they'll love that, and they'll love you for it.
Now, in terms of Car Throttle as a business, where do you see the opportunities? I suppose we've touched on it already. It's further growth. So maybe I should ask, what are the challenges you face? I can see where you're heading, but what are the obstacles and challenges you face as a business?
I mean, on a personal level, I'll be completely honest. The biggest challenge is maintaining a good work-life balance, especially when it comes to video curation, where late nights and added days put massive pressure on edits, and sticking to deadlines. So it gets to a point, where you work with brands, and sometimes you feel like it's difficult to keep your head above water. But I'm surrounded by a really great team of people. We work very, very hard. And we always hit our deadlines, but sometimes it can be very challenging, but we always do get through it. So on a personal level, I would say that's the biggest challenge. But
do you take holidays?
Yeah, well, I took 3 days off week before last, but that's because I needed to build a fence.
Right. So not a holiday at all?
Not a holiday at all. No, I actually came back feeling more tired than anything. But I will be taking holiday fairly soon, but it's slightly difficult for me because I need to be in most of the videos, especially if they're sponsored campaigns. They want me to head those up. So we've got a lot of sponsored campaigns at the moment, which doesn't leave me a lot of time to swan off to Cornwall or wherever it may be. But yeah, hopefully later in August I'll be able to take some holiday and just switch off for a little while. But
so, Alex, what advice would you give to other publishers, especially those who potentially who will have print brands and are not pure play digital and are looking to accelerate their digital transformation? Any advice for them?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of advice actually that we've learned over the years. In terms of social platforms, it is posting consistently. You need to feed the audience, that they are on their phones 6, 7, 8 hours a day. So you always need to be kind of top of their feed. You need to engage with the audience. So that includes, commenting back to them, pinning comments, showing that you are reading their comments, engaging. Also try to find your niche and don't do what everyone else is doing because you won't get noticed. Be personable, show people a face or a personality that people can really relate to. I would say that there's quite a few companies that kind of hide behind the brand, and me as a subscriber or a viewer or a fan of that brand, I want to get to know the person behind it. Really, that's how you'll get my trust, and that's how you'll win my time effectively. And then the last piece of advice I would say, which is really important, is to engage and collaborate with other brands, and that way you both benefit. Again, there are too many brands, I think, that just want to do their own thing and go down their own path. But if you don't look at what other people are doing, and if you don't share ideas, and if you don't collaborate, then I think you're only really limiting how far you can go. We've done collaborations with loads of other YouTube channels, and you kind of grow from that, and then other audiences around the world get to know you. And it's, again, if a subscriber of a channel in America sees that channel is doing something with us, they'll think, oh, that's cool. If that channel is working with Car Throttle, maybe Car Throttle's cool, and then they'll spread the word. So yeah, don't be afraid to collaborate, because sharing is caring, especially online.
And what form would that collaborate, for Car Throttle? What form typically would collaborations take?
It would be having a YouTuber or someone from a different YouTube channel in our video. It would be shouting out another YouTube channel. If you say, oh, Engineering Explained or Auto Trader or so did this video, we watched it, we really loved it, so here's our version. We've collaborated with Mike Brewer, who's the presenter of Wheeler Dealers, Rory Reid, who's Auto Trader, loads of guys in America. We share footage. We always say where the footage is from. Collaboration is definitely king.
And from what you say, being generous with those name checks and sharing.
100%. Yeah. It costs you nothing to name check a company or a YouTube channel, and it will get you loads of respect.
And what's in the pipeline for Car Throttle? You talked about alignment, greater alignment between your different platforms. Anything else in terms of major new developments over the next few years that you can share with us?
I would say just continuing to grow the brand, really. Continuing to have fun, entertaining people, producing high quality branded content, and making a difference to people's lives, really. Even if it means someone who's had a bad day, if that person gets 20 minutes of pure escapism, then I think that for me is a great metric and a great KPI. I get loads of messages from people saying, I'm going through some dark stuff at the moment. Watching your video really changed my mood. So that for me is something that I strive towards, is trying to help people, really. But one day it would be great, like I said earlier, to get picked up by the Amazons or the Netflixes of the world, but who knows.
I was watching a couple of the videos earlier, and it does seem there's an incredible bond between your viewers and yourself and the other presenters. People being very personal about their own journeys and their stories, and and the like, on a very personal level.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I've never suffered with mental health myself, but so many people are, and it's great that so many people are being open about it these days. And if we can be a platform to tell people stories and to spread a message of it's okay not to be okay, then I'm all for it. Then that that is the greatest use that we can be as a YouTube channel, is just helping people. I had a guy come up to me a couple of years ago who was going through some really, really dark stuff, and he watched the Project MX5 series, and he said watching that actually saved his life. So yeah, it's incredible. It's all very well chasing money and chasing views, but at the end of the day, you've got to think about that person behind the screen. Does it help them? If yes, then amazing. If not, how can you help that person? You just try to be people's friends. And like I said, don't be a bad role model, because, people can spiral out of control. So I'm always very wary of that. I just want, people to be happy, really, and if I can do that by having fun, then that's win-win.
And finally, Alex, a question we ask all our guests on the podcast outside of work. Not that it sounds like you've got much time outside work, but how do you try and relax?
Relax. I'm not familiar with that word. My partner and I have recently bought a renovation house. So it's not relaxing, but what I do outside of my house is DIY renovations, building fences. I've got an indoor gym as well in the bedroom. Jumping on the motorbike, doing track days, that kind of stuff. I don't play video games. I don't really watch a lot of TV. I'm very happy when I'm outside, fixing things or pulling things apart or building things. That for me is real relaxation. Just working with my hands, I really enjoy.
So I'd say your form of relaxation is you're permanently on the move by the sound of things. So I suppose it's just doing other things outside of work, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. My partner's family are also very much with you on that. I can't actually sit still at the lunch table, and they always know that I need to get up after about 20 minutes and have a little wander around.
Well, enjoy your holiday later in the year if you get it.
Thank you very much.
Alex Kersten, thank you very much for being our guest on the In Publishing podcast.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
A final word from our valued podcast sponsor. Air Business is trusted by 4,000 publications and 3 million happy subscribers, with 10 million customer records on file. It processes £500 million each year in 22 currencies and delivers over 300 million items. Find out more at airbusiness.com. Many thanks to Alex for being our guest this time. I particularly liked his emphasis on putting audience needs first and the critical importance of maintaining trust. If you would like to see Alex in action, then visit the Car Throttle channel on YouTube. Alex can also be found on Twitter and Instagram under the name @AutoAlex. To find out more about Car Throttle, go to carthrottle.com. If you would like to get in touch with us, then please email us at editorial@inpublishing.co.uk. Thank you for listening, and do join me in 2 weeks' time for another podcast when my guest will be Helen Fish, Group Chief Executive at Executive Grapevine. Bye for now.